So unless you've been living under a rock for the past 10 years, you probably know what ASDF Movie is. It's an animated comedy series first released in 2008 and has become one of the most popular animated comedy videos of all time, spawning memes, viral songs, and jokes that have become ingrained into internet culture. And ASDF Movie continued to maintain this popularity up until what was thought to be the final ASDF movie for quite a while, ASDF Movie 10. There weren't really any indications that Tomska, the creator of ASDF Movie, was even working on another one, so it came as a huge surprise to me and a lot of other people when I saw it on the trending page. ASDF Movie has always been an extremely nostalgic series for me because it was one of the first videos that I remember watching as a kid, so of course I decided to watch all the other previous ASDF movies before watching the new ones in order to get a feel for it. And as I sat there watching them, I realized that I wasn't really laughing all that much other than a few chuckles here and there. Which is what I expected. I mean, after all, this was humor from 2008. It's bound to have not aged extremely well. I was also extremely young when I saw these, so stuff that was funny to me back then obviously wouldn't appeal to me now. But I expected it to get better on, but they didn't. In fact, in some ways they got worse, and when I got to the newest one, I was extremely disappointed. There were like 3 fart jokes in it, where somebody's face is blown off by a fart blast. It's like, maybe I would understand 1 joke, but 3? Like, seriously, what? And then there was this joke right here.
Hey, your girlfriend. She's single?
I mean, the dude literally just asked, is your girlfriend single, and that was it. That was the joke. I mean, I know ASDF Movie has always been hit or miss, but this one was pretty bad. So, what happened? Well, to understand what made ASDF Movie special in the first place, and understand why that is no longer present, we have to go back to the first one. The first ASDF Movie was released on August 10th, 2008, and obviously in 2008, humor was much different. Back then, YouTube was in what is known as the pre-ironic era, where humor was simplified and what you saw was basically what you got. There wasn't any nuance or deeper meaning to jokes, they were just jokes. Is there any nuance to this scene where a potato gets crushed by a foot? No. It's just a funny visual to see. Lots of humor around this time around similar visual gags like this one, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's just what people liked back then. An ASDF Movie used visual gags and humor that was a staple of that era to draw in its audience, and was widely successful because of it. And when Tomska decided to make another one, he made it in a way that was similar to the first one in order to retain the same audience. And as time went on, a pattern developed where Tomska was trying too hard to capture the essence of the first one, despite the original concept for ASDF Movie being about randomness and being able to make whatever jokes he wanted without limitations. Soon, iconic jokes made in previous ASDF movies that were actually pretty decent soon became crutches for the series and became stale really fast. To me, jokes like the I Like Trains one just felt like lazy attempts to recycle the same thing over and over again rather than coming up with something fresh and new. Different jokes with the same punchline. There's nothing wrong with having jokes that span over multiple segments like this, but if a joke is going to do that, it should be treated as a continuation of the original joke rather than the recycled same punchline over and over again disguised as something new. And I like Tomska. Over the years I've seen him and his content and humor evolve, and I think it's pretty obvious he's passionate about what he does, and he always strives to improve. His more recent projects have a level of production value that is pretty impressive to say the least, which is why I'm so confused as to why ASDF Movie is the one thing that hasn't improved, and has in fact gotten worse in some ways. So, what's to explain this? Well, I mean, the pressure of being the creator of one of the most influential animated videos on the internet is pretty immense, and as I said before, in order to retain the same audience, Tomska made the newer ASDF movies with the first one in mind in order to retain the same audience, which in my opinion is a dangerous mindset to have. 2008 humor may have been good for the time, and I feel like that sort of humor was relevant for a few years after. When you try to replicate humor from that era in a year like 2018, it doesn't really translate all that well. And this is something Tomska himself is aware of. In a video on his second channel titled Do I Hate ASDF Movie, a video released before ASDF Movie 11, Tom makes a more personal and introspective look at ASDF movie, what he likes about it and what he doesn't. He's aware of all these issues. He even states he intentionally forced himself to be random himself.
Okay, as for movie 3, it's got some good beats in it, but it's also got a lot of the most try-hardy jokes in it, where I'm just trying to be random. It's like I'm kind of losing grip on what I'm doing. I'm developing more of an anxiety about performing and making a funny video, and I think it really shows. It's still got some very solid beats in there, even if a lot of the jokes I have borrowed from younger versions of myself.
I think Tomska deserves some credit for acknowledging that these issues exist, but acknowledging problems exist doesn't automatically fix them. I feel that the humor employed in the ASDF movie is just extremely dated, and I'm not the only one who feels this way. Out of all the ASDF movies, the newest one has the highest concentration of dislikes and has multiple comments talking about their dissatisfaction with the humor presented in the video. And yeah, the new one does have just as much support as the other ones do, but I just think it says something that people who have been fans of Tomska for years and ASDF movie for years are making comments like these. I feel that ASDF movie is stuck in a rut right now and is only drawing in the audience of nostalgic internet users rather than drawing in a new one. And of course, humor is subjective. Some people found the new ASDF movie hilarious, and that's completely fine. People have the right to like what they like. And I'm not trying to detract from its importance and impact on internet culture. I still very much appreciate ASDF movie for what it is. But I feel there's a point in all of our lives where we need to take a step back and evaluate the things we like and analyze what exactly we like about them and what we don't like about them in order to make suggestions on how to improve them. And I genuinely hope that ASDF movie can improve in the future. But for now, it's just a series that to me has lost its spark. Thank you for watching.